And that finally all changed at the end of the 18th century when Henry Moseley invented the screw cutting lathe. This allowed for screws to be mass-produced with precision threads. And it's a little hard to see here, but one of the primary components of the lathe, which is right here under the highlight, is actually a long screw. We'll talk about ironic. A screw is required to make more screws.
I'm going to stop right there. So I've been curious lately and thinking about things. What I do is part of my work is I do molding and casting. So I can sculpt figures and I can recreate those figures with molds, and then I make a cast so I can reproduce objects that I sculpt, sporting goods, household goods, arts and crafts, things like that. And I know that there's things I can sculpt, like let's say an animal or a human figure. But if I want to create something that's geometric, I have to go to the hardware store, and maybe I can find some gadget, and then I pull a mold off of there and incorporate it into a statue or something I'm working on. But the idea is that there's things you can do by hand, and then there's things that you cannot do by hand. I don't care how great of an artist you are. You can't make a perfect cue ball for pool. You can't make a perfect PVC pipe. You can't make a screw. So I started wondering, well, how the hell did they make this stuff? So I'm the kind of guy that I watch flat Earth videos, mud flood, Tartaria has been a hot thing lately. Matrix, simulate realities, all these type of topics. Conspiracy stuff. Moon landing, did we go? Did we, didn't we? I don't think we did. It's pretty obvious. But, and then of course, question of God comes into the mix as well. Where did all of us come from? We didn't just, pop out of a big bang, like a big explosion, just created everything. That's impossible. You got to be a moron to believe that a bomb made everything you know and love or hate and the beauty all around us. Just a bomb, big bang exploded and whoo, there it all is. That's ridiculous, man. And then monkeys evolved. We evolved from monkeys. And then, before the monkeys, we were like rats, and then, worms and fish, all the way back to a little rock that became alive. They call it embryogenesis. What we know in Genesis, God formed man from the dust of the earth. But the scientists are smart. They remove the main ingredient, God, and just dirt can turn into a man all by itself over zillions of years. Anyway, it's a lie. Everybody's lying here. But so we focus on that. So I know that for there to be life, there has to be, or for there to be a creation, there has to be a creator. Say, well, where did God come from? They think they got you there. Well, he wasn't created. He's eternal. There's no time where he starts or stops, eternal God, a being beyond your understanding, beyond your sensory perception. So I'll leave it at that. But we see things in our world that can't be explained, really. And I'm just going to say a simple thing like a screw. So getting back to this guy, I was curious, where did the first screw come from? Because like I was saying before, I'm an artist and I sculpt things, but there's things that I can't sculpt. Nobody can. I don't care if you're Michelangelo. You're not gonna sculpt. You're not gonna get some clay and make a perfect screw that works. To say that, just that one simple thing. Without a screw, you can't have a machine. You can't have an industrial revolution. You can't have anything. You can't have. There's nothing you can have without the first screw. Where'd that come from? Where the first man come from? Well, we know God made it, but where did the first screw come from? It seems might sound like a stupid question, but as I researched, I don't want to mess up the pages I've got open, but there's one video that just shows like a machine making screws. You can research this yourself. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a machine that's made out of screws, making other screws. That doesn't tell me where the first one came from. This is really screwing me up. And then, so then I dug a little deeper, and I see that there's this guy, Henry Maudslay. I'll flip to him later. Well, I'll show you him. We can go to that guy. Let me see if he's here. So this guy, he made the machine where they just demonstrated. You can watch that other video on your own. But the funny thing that was pointed out is that this guy, he made the lathe. I forget the whole name of it, but that makes the screw. But the only problem is the narrator of the last video has just told you how ironic that a screw was needed to make a screw. Well, I don't know if I'd use the word ironic. I'd say it's impossible. And I'd say we still don't have an answer, because where the hell did that first screw come from? You see what I'm saying? Let me go back there. You know, just like, oh, well, this thing makes screws, but look at this big, long, perfect piece. How did you do that without a machine? This is the machine that makes the screw. But how did you make the first screw to make the other screws? Okay? And by the way, of course, let me go. I was skipped ahead. By the way, you could research this dude. Of course, he's a Mason. They seem to know things, and he's poking around in Jerusalem and Palestine. He was born in the 1700s and lived into the 1800s, and it's because of this guy that we wouldn't have the Industrial Revolution without him, because he made the first screw and the first machines. This guy right here. But it's mysterious because, and if I'm wrong, somebody comment, let me know. Hey, moron, this is how they did it. I'll accept that, man. Yeah, I might be off here. I haven't researched it. I've spent 100 hours researching this, but the little bit I've dug into, there's a mystery, because there's just no YouTube videos that shows you how to do this, how to make a screw. The first one, like I said, there's a machine that makes screws, but it's made out of nuts and bolts. And then this guy made the first machine that made screws, but you got a perfectly working screw here that, let me go back. Oh, gee, again, that you can't make that with your hands. Where did it come from? And then, so that's what I'm saying. We're told this is where it all began. This is where we started. You know, when they came over here, the Nina Pinta Santa Maria, they got off the boat. There was Indians living here. But even if there's no Indians, this is what you have to work with. You got trees, dirt, rocks, weeds, water. I mean, that's about it. How are you even going to cut those? I mean, how are you going to get the metal? How are you going to melt the metal and all that? You know, I'm sure there's ways, but you're off to a real rough start. And then what I'm saying is, this is where it all started. How the heck do you get to here? This is like the inside gears of a clock. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain it, but I haven't been able to find out the answer. You can't carve this. You can't like whittle this out of a rock or like out of a piece of clay. I know what you can make and what you can't make. I'm an artist. I sculpt, I paint, I've studied art. I don't care how good you are. You can't not make this by hand. You could do it with a computer or with a machine. But where did the first machine come from? Well, that's a mystery. The first screw is a mystery. Here, this. Again, I don't care how good you are. You cannot make this by hand. It's impossible. What's next? So here's something, the world kind of wants us to focus on this. These kind of things. There's megalith structures. How did they do that? Yeah, and it's true. How the hell did they do that? But it kind of, is it to take our attention off just the things that are just all around us? I mean, even the cell phone I'm holding, man, how the hell did they make that? they, and I'm saying they, it's like they sure know a lot. The movie They Live. They live. We work all the time. They get to have fun, but they know how to go to the moon. They know how to make screws. They know how to build the pyramids. They know how far the stars are. They know an awful lot, man. And they really do know some stuff. They lie about a lot, but they prove it. Look at this, man. Somebody knows how they did it. Someone today knows exactly how to do this, but they don't tell us. They don't tell the public. Someone today knows how this was done, but good luck. Find out how the first screw was made, and let me know. And I'll delete this video. I'll say I'm a moron. I didn't think of that. You're right. You know, the everyday things all around us that we take for granted. But I'm telling you, man, this is impossible. This cannot be done. You can't make that. Starting from here. No, I mean from starting here. You can't start here. I don't care how many million years the cavemen dug around. You can't get from there to there. You know, I'm not going to tell that story. But I'll just say, I don't have a picture of it, but my mom had an old coin in our family, and I saw, man, this is made by hand. I could feel it wasn't a perfect circle. And I said, yeah, this is something I feel like I could make like a human element. There's a human element there. The new coin, like a quarter and a dime, how the hell did they do that? I guess one guy said they could make it real big and then shrink it down. That makes sense. You know, I don't know. But a lot of stuff just doesn't make sense. And I'll just show this last. These guys they seem to know a lot. These guys are very mysterious, man. You know, something about them, man. I think it's these guys. They know, or they're connected to a being that knows, because they are builders. You got a square and a compass. It's building. You know, all our world isn't natural. It's all full of technology and getting more and more. And you know, they are making this stuff. And again, I would say this dude, where'd it go? He was a Mason. You can research it. This guy, Henry Maudslay. I read a little bit about it. I got a little ADD, man. I'm not going to read hours and hours, but I just poked my nose. He was poking around in Jerusalem and Palestine, and you know, there's a whole story. I'll read it more later because I'm kind of interested now. But how do they do this stuff? Well, maybe they are on the highest level connecting to beings that are not human. It's a theory. Now, when we look at the Bible, we see there's a serpent there, and the scripture said he was the most subtle of all creatures, like transparent. That word subtle or craftiest. There's a lot of translations of that word. There's crafty. You know, he's crafty. He could make things. Craftsman, and subtle, delicate, even transparent, shapeshifter, intelligent. Smarter than all the other livestock. I don't think that, by the way, that's another video, but I don't think the serpent is Satan, because the curses described regarding him don't fit like a spirit, like a fallen angel. Like he's going to eat dust of the earth. We're made of dust of the earth, by the way, humans. We're made of the dust of the earth. He's going to crawl on his belly, eat the dust of the earth. He's going to have offspring. They will be at enmity with the woman's offspring. You know, so it could be that these guys are somehow in compliance with those other creatures that may not be human. I don't know. What do I know? But I tell you, man, what I do know is you can't make this stuff by hand. So where the hell is it coming from? You know, not just things like this, but everything, man. The lights above you, the light bulb, all that stuff, man, doesn't make sense. Like the whole story with Benjamin Franklin went out there with a kite and a rope tied to a little key in the jar and during a thunderstorm. Man, that sounds like a tall tale when you think about it. What did he, is that even possible, man, to go out? Has anyone ever done that since? Go out in the thunderstorm and just have like the lightning perfectly strike the kite, and then it comes down the electric current down the thread, and what? It lights up the key, and then what? You have like, now you have the power in the jar. Now you have electricity. I mean, I might sound like a moron. I know dams create electricity. I haven't really researched that, but why that story? And he was a Mason too, and just like, my point is that we take things like electricity for granted. What the hell is that stuff, man? How are we able to wield it, and power stuff? And man, it's just, the whole thing, it just seems out beyond the capability of ordinary humans, who started out like here. It just doesn't make sense, man.